It's the sometimes flow, yeah, 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 yeah. It's a vlog that happens sometimes. Welcome everybody to the Pacific Ocean. There's Catalina Island out there. There is Orange County stretching out behind me. And today is the day. It's finally come that I leave Southern California. In fact, I'm probably pretty sure I'm leaving California period today and heading out across the United States on a road trip. But first, one last look at the Pacific Ocean. Yep, looks like it. Let's see. Huh. Yeah, I just checked. It's wet. Let me tell you. Grabbed a couple of shells here from the beach, and maybe, just maybe, if I make it all the way to the East Coast, I might want to stick these shells from the West Coast onto the East Coast. Wouldn't that be something? See, the thing is, I don't know how far I'm going on this road trip. I don't even know where I'm going. I'm trying to keep it as loosey-goosey as possible. I have a bunch of ideas, a bunch of things I want to do. But if I somehow see the Atlantic Ocean, I decided last night, like 4 in the morning when I was going to bed, I don't want to say that I started from Anaheim. I want to say that I started from the Pacific Ocean. That way, if I do make it to the Atlantic, I can say that I went from sea to shining sea and be completely accurate. All right, now it's like 10 in the morning, and that's pretty much it. I got the rental car all packed up, and I'm ready to hit the road. So let's go. First things first, I kind of hurt myself falling the other day while I was shopping for that suit. So it's time for the chiropractor. They always give me the kid room with the Disney on it, and the Lion King. I don't know why. My back hurts. I'm a sad lion.
But if the chiropractor helps me, soon I'll be a happy horse.
This is fun.
I'm just a cow. What? That's all I got to say. It turns out there was nothing they can do. They've actually removed my spine so they could work on it.
It's just such a great sticker. What? Look at this. My chiropractor, Dr. Wyckoff, adjusts Minnie Mouse. I'm in good hands. I'm in good hands. That feels so good. One last thing to do before I leave. There we go. Tyler's Mexican large hat. Ooh, and Owlie. I know. Some of you guys are new here, so you probably don't know my friend Tyler, but when I started these Sometimes vlogs, my friend Tyler lived in Southern California, and we went to this party city, and well, we discovered that sombreros are actually called Mexican large hats. Anyway, this was Tyler's hat, and I had a different hat. We took a picture together for this shirt. On my shirts, live fast, die poor at Spreadshirt.com. And then he left Southern California and moved home to Georgia, and he forgot his hat. And that's the whole reason for this. We're actually way behind schedule now, and we gotta leave California and take Tyler his hat back in Georgia. Owlie here. That's just my owl. I got him on a past road trip to prevent loneliness. So if you ever go back and watch all the old vlogs, you'll see Owlie there. I missed you, buddy. He doesn't like me that much, honestly. All right, it's time to go. Now, last but not least, I must introduce you to our means of conveyance, our chariot across the land of the United States. Hopefully this thing will take us from sea to shining sea. I'm used to driving my Ford Mustang. It's only a V6, but it has 300 and something horsepower, very powerful vehicle. And I have switched it for this. A Nissan Versa. Cool. It's got a much roomier back seat because it actually has a real back seat. It's got a seat here for my owl. There's at least 20 horsepower probably in it. It's got this little dinky steering wheel and this little dinky stereo. You can plug your iPhone into it, and so anyway, it's nearly it's really a downgrade in terms of like what it feels like to drive it, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, for $500 for 3 weeks, that's less than the cost of one thing breaking on my car. I can rent this car for 3 weeks, and if something breaks on it, then the rental car company comes and switches the car. So I thought it was a smart decision, especially because my cars, all my warranties are about ready to expire mileage-wise. Right, Ollie? He's a strong silent type. You'll get used to him. Owlie's probably actually not going to be with us the whole trip. I'm bringing him for a reason that will be discussed in the future. But for now, it's time seriously to finally get the heck out of Southern California. We have to commence to driving right now. Jimmy crack corn and I don't care. Jimmy crack corn and I don't care. Jimmy crack corn and I don't care. I really wish I knew some other words to that song. What are the other words to that song? Jimmy crack corn and I don't care. Jimmy crack corn and I don't care. Jimmy crack corn and I don't care. I don't know the words. Oh, of course, we've hit a little traffic. Southern California won't let us leave without giving us a little bit more traffic in the Cajon Pass. This is where everything bottlenecks all together on the east side of the big valley where LA and Orange County and all these places are. They all bottleneck up into the mountains. You gotta crisscross them up into the desert and up onto old Route 66, which actually used to go up this very pass itself. In my Mustang, I can charge up this hill at like a zillion miles an hour if I wanted to. In the Nissan Versa, not so much. I'm pretty much right there with all the semi-trucks, just struggling. We made it! We're over the top, we made it! It's very windy here, but right at the tippy top of the summit of the pass is this, the Summit Inn. This little old school Route 66 diner has been here since 1952. In 2014, a truck crashed into it and destroyed the kitchen, but it is now rebuilt and open for business. Unfortunately, nothing gluten-free for me, so we gotta keep going, we gotta keep going. This building right here used to be the old gas station. Now it's really, I don't know what's in there now, but look at this cool old school neon sign. Wow, the wind! Crazy to think that this is the old Route 66. You'd have Model Ts and 57 Chevys and all kinds of crazy old school cars on this bad boy. Now a massive interstate. But look at this old sign. Pretty sweet. I was starting to panic earlier about how long it was taking me to get out of Southern California, because it's just the traffic. The thing is, like, all right, if it's 6 or 7 hours to the Grand Canyon or whatever, but you hit traffic, it turns to a 7-hour drive into a 12-hour drive or whatever it is, just depending on how much traffic that you hit. So I was like, man, I got all this stuff to do, and I had to get Owlie over here, needy, and get out of Southern California. I was like getting all stressed, and I realized, wait a minute, isn't that the whole point of this trip? We're sort of going on Cars, the movie, of a trip, because the whole point is to get out of Southern California, slow it down, and have a little bit of an adventure. All right, maybe I won't get to where I thought I was gonna get to by the end of the day, but I'm gonna get as far as I can and enjoy things along the way. I am, though, the first couple of days of these vlogs on this trip are gonna be a little bit crazy, in the sense that I'm gonna be trying to do a lot of driving to get farther away from Southern California. There's a lot of really cool stuff out here in the California desert, and obviously in Arizona too. But since I live here close to that stuff, I figure I can get to that stuff way more often than I can on the trip. So I'm trying to get out towards the Midwest and etc. as fast as I can. But still, you know what I mean? The journey is the destination, or the destination is the journey, or it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. A footstep of 1,000 pictures equals 1,000,000 phrases. Okay, moving on. Welcome to the California High Desert. It's a beautiful, wonderful place where everybody drives like crazy maniacs. You would think that once you get up in the desert outside of LA that it would be a little bit better, but no, because all between Los Angeles and Las Vegas, it's super crazy. Luckily, Route 66 leaves along I-40 and heads west. So once you get up past Barstow and actually get out on Interstate 40, and start to get away from California, it actually starts to, you know, people drive like humans like they do in other states. But basically anywhere between LA and Las Vegas along that freeway, no matter how remote the location, people will be zipping around like crazy aggressive drivers. It's weird being in this car because I can't really, there's no power. I can't really like go around and stuff. And so I see all these people driving like 80, 90 miles an hour past me, and I'm like, hi, I'm doing 65. Having a great time. It's fun. What a fun one. Well, we finally come quite a comfortable distance from Barstow. A lot of nothing out there along I-40. But we finally pulled over in the little Route 66 town of Ludlow, California. Look around us now. Here's the 360-degree view of Ludlow. Pretty wild. This right here is a piece of old Route 66, which as you can see now is not a through street. There's a lot of road closed signs down there, and you'll find that all over vast stretches of California desert roads. Especially this year, there was a lot of rain, like way out of season rain, like which was only like an inch or two of rain, but out here in the middle of the desert, that's quite a lot of rain. So there's a lot more shrubbery than you're used to seeing out in the desert. Anyway, lots of roads got washed out this year, and of course there's vast stretches of the old Route 66 that nobody really drives on anymore, so there's no reason to maintain them. Ludlow is one of those little Route 66 towns that's so close to the modern interstate that it's kind of survived. There's still a few little houses and barns here. And of course, there's a Chevron station, which is fairly active. And then over here, a couple of old classic Route 66 buildings, including the Ludlow Motel. I was just about to say, I'm not sure it's an active hotel still because you can see it's like kind of old and run down. But then I noticed this sign over here on the wall. Please ask at Chevron Mini Mart to rent room. Ice is also available there. Well, that is awesome. Still an active business here, the Ludlow Motel. I gotta tell you, I have traveled a lot in my life, and I have never yet seen a motel where they ask you to please go to the Chevron station to rent a room. That is a first for me. And I've been a lot of places. Actually, Ludlow is one of those little towns that I always drove past. Like, I was always coming into California from like going on tour with my band or something like that and being like, well, I can make it to Barstow. Let me just make it to Barstow. I want to go home. I want to go home. Or I'd just be starting a trip like, hurry, hurry, hurry. We got to get past this place. It actually really doesn't look that bad in there. That is super awesome. If you're ever coming through Ludlow and it's nighttime and you want to take a little naparoo, the Ludlow Motel. Who knew? A piece of Route 66 history. We have a truck towing other trucks. And speaking of trucks, a couple of old-timey looking trucks right over here at this old gas station that apparently used to be an Arco at one point. This one over here, this old Chevy says Ludlow Fire District #2. It's crazy to think that this town that's like, you blink and you miss it now, was big enough or important enough, either to the railroad or to the highway at one point, to have a fire district with more than one truck at all. I think it's very cool that they let stuff like this sit out here for tourists and wanderers like me to come and peek inside and look at, even though a lot of people are clearly writing their names on these trucks in the dust. Like this guy. Hi, Rowan. Thanks for leaving us a little note. We got this other green truck next door over here that has a lot more of that writing on it. Ben and Lisa and Alex and Beaumont. Whose name is Beaumont? Do you know anybody whose name is Beaumont? Hi, my name is Beaumont. It's kind of like having a name Beauregard. You guys remember? My name is Beauregard. I've never met somebody named Beauregard, but I would like to. This is honestly a very unusual looking truck to me. I don't recognize this truck by sight at all. I was trying to figure out a manufacturer, but I don't see any kind of insignia on the front. There's this weird plate with some kanji or some Japanese writing, it looks like, on the outside of it. No idea what that says, but it looks so shiny and new, and the truck looks, well, for lack of a better word, kind of weather beaten, so I don't think that's part of the original truck. Nor do I see anything here on the steering wheel all removed. There's a lot of switches and gadgets inside of this truck. What do you think this truck could have been used for? Look at this though. It's all wood paneled on the inside, which is really cool. I don't know if that's original wood paneling or added in afterwards. But what a funky, crazy looking, look at that 70s carpet in there. What a crazy looking vehicle. Just chilling. And look at this. That's pretty weird, right? Like the big bench seat on the driver's side and then the one tiny little chair over there for people with very narrow hips. Like, hey, snake hips, we got a chair just for you, buddy. Come on in my truck. Pretty darn cool, man. I love stuff like this. Stuff like this used to drive my band crazy when I would pull over and look at it for half an hour. It would just drive them nuts, like, come on, let's go. But I love it. All right, next door to all this stuff, we have the much more famous Ludlow Cafe, the historic Route 66 stop that is apparently like a big deal in all the Route 66 guidebooks and everything. It says you gotta stop at the Ludlow Route 66 Cafe. It looks pretty awesome. I mean, look at that old school A-frame style building. But wait a minute. What the heck is this? Atomic Energy Commission, United States of America. What the hey? Project Carryall. Huh. So basically, this is talking about an experimental program called Operation Plowshare, where they use nuclear energy for like weird stuff like mining and all kinds of crazy stuff, like basically nuclear explosions. And this basically says that they use nuclear explosions. Nuclear explosions, so like they could test their nukes after World War II to bomb their way through like the landscape to build the railroads and the old part of Route 66 in this area. Nuclear explosions. Because America. Hashtag history. Also, maybe you shouldn't breathe in this area. I'm sure it's fine though. A little nuclear fallout never hurt anybody, right? As long as it was just a little. This sign here talks about the Tonopah and Tidewater Railroad that used to bring borax and other crazy like mine minerals all the way from way up by Death Valley down in this area. Now, you may think that this sign that was talking about the railroad and the mining operations and stuff might be a little less interesting than the sign over there talking about the nuclear stuff, but I gotta tell you, I think that this sign totally rocks. Wow. This place is awesome. Look at this. This is awesome. Oh, also our opinion counts. Yes, finally. I love places like this. We used to have a lot of places like this in Southern California. I wish we had more. Anaheim especially. Now it's all like boring, fake Mediterranean architecture. No more 50s. Ooh, look at this old school picture of Ludlow. Not anymore. So awesome in here. And also, they got good signs. I like that. That's gonna be the rule of all of my social media and my house someday. I'm just gonna put a big sign like that on the front of my house. Be nice or leave. Also, I like this one too. Just have to purchase some essentials.
Yeah, I know they should have a little book about it because that doesn't really cover all of it. Yeah. They should have like a little Ludlow information pamphlet.
I gotta call my mom and tell her I finally have the answers. This lady behind me said the cook's been here for 23 years. I've seen a lot of episodes of Kitchen Nightmares. If you can survive 23 years anywhere, you're probably doing a pretty good job. What the heck is this? This is totally real. You're supposed to put a phone in there, I guess, and then you can use it as a payphone. I think this is the older part of the building, the other part that's not so pointy. This is that Ludlow's been here since 1882, and water had to be brought from the town of Water by rail car. Where's that? Well, as far as Ludlow's concerned, I guess that's about it. Still pretty awesome though. Look at a town with almost nothing in it. A town that 99% of people would just be like, nothing here, keep driving! Or maybe take an ironic photo on the America bench and then peace out. Honestly, that's a good spot for a fun pic. I don't have anyone to take it for me right now. There's no cast members here, but right there, bam, what a fun one. Wait a minute, you guys can totally take a screenshot for me, post it to my Twitter, JustinScarred, and then I'll have a fun pic. What a fun one. Okay, pretty sure everyone in town thinks I'm crazy now. Whoa! Although I think the people in that van are about to top my craziness. It's time to be moving along. Goodbye, Ludlow. I enjoyed you. Better look both ways when we cross the street. We don't want to get run over by all this traffic here. There was a car that was about to come eventually. That was almost potentially, eventually, pretty close. Oh, it got pretty hot. Owlie! What the heck, dude? You ate all my Cheetos Puffs! I was gonna eat those! Bro. Well, it's okay. I still got some sweet and sour Skittles, I guess, for later. Come on, man. Ask first. Actually, if you drive just like a minute away from the cafe, you can see there's a lot more buildings, old abandoned buildings along the railroad tracks that are all fenced off over there and inaccessible. And this old abandoned house here. And even this old crazy gas station. This one looks a little older than this one, but these are some old school Route 66 buildings. This one here is my favorite. The happy little house. The house with the eyeballs. It reminds me of that little house in the Disney cartoon where all the big buildings grew up around it. It's so cute. You can tell it's old because the old metal, probably tin siding on the side of the house. It's pretty cool. It's amazing. This is somebody's house right here. Look at the paneling on the walls, the wood floor. Somebody lost their shoe. Dang, Daniel. Back at it again with the white van. I'm sorry. At least one reference had to creep in eventually, right? Look how small of a place. Can you imagine living in this little square place like this? Look, is that the heater right there? There's somebody's heater. Ooh, and over here is their stove, I'm guessing. Yeah, a little addition on here. The back porch was once a room, I guess. A little street art on the oven there, which is pretty cool. Yeah, the town of Ludlow. Not much left. I know that sometimes the audio can be kind of bad. It's very windy out here for sure. I brought all my different cameras to use on this trip, and I still haven't figured out exactly what I'm gonna do, or if it's gonna be a mix of things, if they're all gonna be like this, where I'm trying to capture kind of like the day and what's going on, or if we're gonna have like unedited run around something like this for 10 or 20 minutes, or what's gonna happen. But there's gonna be a lot of stuff like this. There's a lot of stuff like this scattered across the whole country actually, and I'm looking forward to looking at a lot of it. Look at this place that looks like an old abandoned house. Whatever it actually was, it had a sign over here that was wired up to this pole that's no longer wired to anything really. Now it's just the trains passing by visiting it, and the few random lonely cars on the old part of Route 66. Kind of beautiful, like in a weird way, isn't it? Wow, look at the texture on this old place. It's like stucco texture here. Pretty cool. Ooh, a downed telephone pole or electricity pole or whatever it was. Hello? Anyone home in there? Doesn't look like it. Actually, that's a real legitimate question I have. How do you tell the difference between a telegraph pole, a telephone pole, an electricity pole? Are there differences, or is there just any pole can be anything? Or I'm sure somebody's got to know. I think it's a huge bummer that people come out and trash places like this. I mean, I realize that a lot of people would just see this as a fire hazard or just like a giant pile of garbage. But really, if you look around something like this is really an archaeological site in a weird way, because it's kind of a piece of an America that really doesn't exist anymore in a way. I don't know what this place was, but judging by the transom windows and stuff like that, it's obviously old. And there were stairs over here in the back, you can see, leading up to a second story. So maybe this was some kind of inn. Or Ludlow's been here since the 1880s. That cafe we were in, the newer part, was built in the 1960s. You had everyone from prospectors, I guess, to Route 66 travelers and John Steinbeck and who knows what coming through this town. So really, this could have been anything as far as I know. I love places like this. I love trying to speculate and figure it out, and I love that you guys always tell me later, like, no, that's such and such place. That's Goldie's place. 7 or 8 of them ladies of the nighttime hung out up there. And I'm like, oh, what's a lady of the nighttime? And everyone's like, a lady who plays Xbox really late at night. Oh, heck yeah. Check this out. Here it is. This is really our first one. This is really our first Route 66 highway shield that we've seen. That is awesome. That is killer. Look at it. The Mother Road stretching off into the distance. Very interesting, the range of architectural styles you have just right here in these 3 buildings on this other side of the road. I mean, this in front of me is definitely a 1950s gas station, or they were probably called it a filling station back then, with this crazy roof, maybe 40s, but that kind of futuristic roof sweeping off into the jet age or whatever. And then over here, this garage is definitely looks really 1930s to me. I'm definitely not an expert or anything, but just the style of the building, the typography here, and just knowing some other like 1930s-ish sort of things, and having lived in an old house or two, in my day. This just sort of looks like 20s or 30s to me. I don't think 20s, because I don't think they had many like car garages out in California in the 20s, so maybe 30s or 40s actually. Oh, that's cool. I was just thinking about my grandpa who came to California from Missouri right at the end of the 1930s, start of the 1940s, right before World War II started. Once World War II started, he went back to Missouri and enlisted and everything, went into the Navy. But before that, he came out to Southern California and moved to Los Angeles and took old Route 66 all the way there in his car. I was just thinking he actually worked as a truck driver for a little while, so he may have stopped in a garage very much like this one, if not this one. Just totally fascinating. It's very, very windy and loud out here, kinda, especially to you guys with the microphones. I mean, and there's highway noise from Interstate 40 over there, but at the same time, it's just so quiet out here and still. Yeah, and then here over here is the third piece of architecture. So you have like the 50s gas station, then the 1930s or 40s garage over here, which may have been a gas station before that other one opened up. And then over here, you have this old house that looks considerably older. It looks like someone tried to actually fence this off and preserve this piece of property a little bit better than some of the other houses in town. I'm not gonna cross the fence or anything. I'm just admiring, like, this is pretty cool. It looks like it was lived in a little longer too than maybe some of the other structures, because there's an air conditioner in that window over there and some other telltale signs of habitation in the more recent past. I was just thinking about this old tree here. Somebody definitely had to plant that tree out here. Somebody was thinking, yes, we're gonna make our home here. We're gonna start a new life here out in the middle of nowhere, out in Ludlow, California. This is where our hopes and dreams are going to take root, and so is our shade tree. Maybe the neighbors came from miles around to enjoy those shade trees. There's no way of knowing. Oh, look, another big old train. Well, anyway, I didn't mean to spend so much time in Ludlow, California today, but I figured I was already here. The sun's kind of starting to go down. Not too much filming I'm going to be able to do at night, and I want to make it to Arizona before I go to sleep. Because even though I'm trying to take my time on this trip, I have no desire to spend 2 or 3 more days in Southern California. Where you been on your road trip so far, Justin? Oh, I made it all the way out to Ludlow. Spent the night at the Ludlow Motel. Actually, that kind of sounds like it would be fun. I gotta go before I'm tempted to spend the night at the Ludlow Motel. All right, back on the interstate for now. But mark my words, I will be back along this stretch of Route 66 to take a much more in-depth look at all this crazy stuff. I love California, but I'm looking forward to a little break. When you look at a map of California, I know it looks skinny from west to east, but boy, it's bigger when you're driving through it. Like a TARDIS, I guess, kinda. A whole lot of nothing out here. A whole lot of very, very beautiful nothing. I just pulled over here, literally to the side of the interstate. Nobody. For so long. The reason I pulled over is I was looking at all these flowers. I was driving past and seeing all these flowers all throughout the desert, and I realized I very rarely ever pull over and take a look at like what I'm passing in terms of like flora and fauna. Are you guys interested in plants at all? You ever think about plants? Like, it's really easy. Oh, here comes some cars right here. It's really easy to think about jungle trees or like pine forests or things that are like bigger than us. But you never really think about like little scrubby plants. I'm not a plant person, so I never really think about plants, but like look at how weird and alien looking some of these plants were. I was just thinking if they were the size of like giant redwoods or something, and we were looking at them, we'd probably think, whoa, look how different these two plants are from each other. But because they're so small, you're like, oh yeah, whatever, some little plant that's below my knee. But this is a totally like alien landscape. Everything here is super different than what most people would, you know, be used to, because obviously nobody lives out here. Okay, maybe that's a total complete tangent that nobody else in the world will be interested in, but I just thought it was interesting. These little flowers here on these bushes, super crazy bright yellow out here compared to all the rest of this stuff. And then also there's these big tree-like little bushes with these little white, I don't know, not flowers, but these little like white things all over them. So I just kept driving past them over and over again. I don't know what they're called. I don't know the difference between sagebrush and creosote, and there's yucca over there and all these different bushes and plants, but there's definitely a lot more out here than you really think there would be at first. Like, look how beautiful that is. That's crazy. And thousands of people just driving by all day long. I don't know how many stopped to appreciate it, but I just wanted to. All right, it's like another 60, 70 miles out of California. So off I go into the sunrise because we're going east. Each one of these little segments represents hours of driving through this desert. It's beautiful, but boy, it's desert-y and long. I was just tripping out thinking of how much of my life, and yes, by the way, this is a hard-boiled egg in my hand, how much of my life I've spent at rest areas like this. How many nights I've slept at them. I actually have slept at this rest area before, as a matter of fact. Going eastbound and thinking, why didn't we make it to Arizona last night? Who was driving? Come on, I'll make it to Arizona now, that kind of thing. And I don't know, just tripping out about how much time I've spent in little rest areas like this and what a big part of my life they are. I don't know if you can hear the cricket in the background, but the sun is starting to go down. I wanted to drive more of the old alignments, which old alignment in Route 66 terms always means like an older piece of it. So instead of like I-40, which roughly follows Route 66, the old alignment would be like the actual old Route 66 pavement. But most of it in Southern California has been closed. I think it's because those rains I was talking about earlier. When I just went to Death Valley recently to do those Star Wars filming locations on this channel, go a few videos back, we encountered a lot of washed out roads. So those like very rare, weird, wintry, springy rains like did a number on the roads out here. Pretty crazy, but look at that. Isn't this beautiful? I mean, yeah, there's a lot of nothing out here, but I don't know. I enjoy it. I really do. I was hoping to get to Arizona tonight and then like do a couple of Arizona things and then breeze all the way through the state of Arizona and be in New Mexico by the next day. But I think what I learned from today is just slow down, Justin. Chill. It's a really super important lesson for all of us. And like I said, that kind of goes with the whole movie Cars thing. You guys ever watched that Disney movie? A lot of people dismissed it. Oh, it's Doc Hollywood with Hot Wheels. Which it is, but it's still such a great movie. Honestly, that first one. Cars 2, I don't even know what happened there, but Cars, the movie, was actually really good, I thought. Sometimes you just need to slow down. That's the wisdom of the owl, which will give you the peace of the desert plant. And that is the true use of the power of the cobra. And there's a lot of you who've only recently subscribed who are going to be very confused by that message, but some of you understand. And those of you who don't, soon you will. Oh, you will. As the sun sets over California behind us, we are now looking down at Arizona. Woohoo! We will be there very, very soon. Super side note here, and it's always kind of awkward because you don't want to be like, hey, thanks for being my friend, but I really do appreciate all of you guys who subscribe, all of you who watch, who leave positive comments, who are with me on Instagram and Twitter and watch all these crazy vlogs, especially the older vlogs, and the new ones, all crazy, coming along on every adventure. I really honestly do appreciate it, and it really does mean a whole lot to me. It's like one of those things where like you really appreciate your friend and you really like love your friend, but you don't want to be like, hey friend, I love you. So I don't want to like say it too much and be all weird. Like I don't want to make it, I'm just not, okay, I'm making it weird. I'm sorry, I'll stop. We are now driving through historic Route 66 town, Needles, California. A lot of cool stuff in Needles, but I'm just trying to make it to the Arizona border before the sun goes down. All right, here it is. Bam! Arizona! Oh my gosh, we did it. I don't know how, but we did it. Just a couple of minutes ago, I passed over that right there, the bridge over the Colorado River. That side is California, and now we are on the Arizona side. That's the Colorado River down there. That's crazy. The Colorado! That thing flooding made the Salton Sea and stuff. It's a thing. We're in Arizona, state number 2. Boy, it's actually kind of ugly, but also super, super beautiful up here. The car bridge is not that scenic, but look at this. Railroad bridge kind of silhouetted there, and the moon is out and whatnot, and I'm feeling all triumphal and stuff. Feels nice. Huckleberry Finn's about to go by on a raft any second, so. You know, in hindsight, I probably could have pulled my car all the way down this gravel, but I didn't. I just parked on the side of the road and ran like, I need to make it before the sun sets. Oh, the regrets. All right, first truck stop of the trip. And as you can see, right when you cross the border, the gas prices start to go down. I pulled over to get some gas, but also to get some salt and pepper from Wendy's because I was eating a hard-boiled egg. It's a little better with salt and pepper on it, just saying. And also to pick up this beauty right here, $5.99 for the ultimate legends of rock and roll. We got Bill Haley, Little Richard, Fats Domino, Chuck Berry, Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins, Richard Berry, and the Pharaohs. Is that any relation to Marvin Berry? Also, more Chuck Berry, Gene Vincent, Fats Domino, Roy Orbison in there. So this is gonna be, I feel like it's gonna be pretty good. Side note though, there's all these large birds flying around in the lights here. They're almost acting like bats, swooping down and snatching bugs out of the sky. And I don't know what kind of birds these are. They're moving too fast. Slow down, bird. Are any of you guys bird lovers? You know anything about birds? Arizona birds that fly and swoop at your face to get bugs? Hey, whoa, whoa. Not gonna buy one, but just putting this out there for anyone who knows. Do you think this is any good? Not talking about safety here, but do you think this would work? I think you put these things inside of here and then you can cook stuff in your car. I mean, obviously pulled over to the side of the road. I don't think it would be safe at all to cook stuff while you're driving, but has anybody ever had one of these? Do they work? Could you heat up a can of, like, I don't know, chicken noodle soup or something with that? Oh dang, I should have got Allie one of these for her birthday. She would have loved it. Ooh, or this. Nah, she doesn't like spiders, but the dragon though, for sure. All right, I'm gassed up and I'm ready to go now. Especially because the locals here were they just kept staring at me and I don't know why. Look guys, I'm a stranger here, man, a visitor. You don't have to stare at me like that. They're making me uncomfortable. I'll make friends somewhere else. Dang, I almost forgot though. Gotta put this in.
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4.
There we go.
Just another hour and a half or so of driving through the Arizona desert before I finally reach my destination, Seligman, Arizona, and sleep.
Oh my gosh, I made it to the hotel. This is my hotel for the night, and the lovely lady inside just turned the arrow on for me. The Supai Motel. Don't know what a Supai is, but boy, is that fantastic or what? And look, it's a real key, an actual key. The Supai Motel. I'm feeling pretty Supai about this whole thing. As you can see, it's a full house here. When I pulled up, the lady said, Justin, and I literally get to pull in the very last spot. Everyone else is sleeping. It's so quiet. That's because it's also 11 o'clock at night. I really don't know what I was expecting, but I was not expecting this. This room is so weird and so funky and so totally cool. I always bring my own blankets and my own pillow. So I lay my own blanket down on top of this blanket. I lay on that. Then I put my other blanket on top of myself and I use my own pillow. That way I stay comfy and clean. Theoretically, they're supposed to change the sheets and blankets like every time a person comes to the hotel, but they don't always have to change those top covers. So I don't lay on top of those. Not all the time. But that's how I roll. Some people out there are like super OCD, like, you can sleep in those places? Heck yeah, I can. Because I'm tired. Normally, with this tub of like food and crazy stuff, I also have this little portable stove that I bring with me when there's no microwave. It's like a pretty safe one. It's not like a crazy bird in the house down one. Although I used to have one of those. We'll talk about that more in the future. So this is nice. A little fridge, a little microwave. I'm gonna make myself some Dinty Moore beef stew or something from this tub, and then I'm gonna lay down and go to sleep. I will see you all tomorrow. Been pretty fun though, hasn't it? This is just day one. No idea what's coming next. You don't know? I don't know. We don't know. Where's Owlie? That's what you might be asking yourself. He's guarding the car. That'll give him time to think it over. You've all done your duty. Go home and sleep well.
That guy was weird.